Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on the Father Show, and I'm your host, Mike Thompson. Today, we got a fantastic show, but before we get to that, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I would ask that you will go to our YouTube channel, hit that subscription button, and while you're there, don't forget to hit that notification bell so that way you will get notified whenever we have a new show uploaded, and generally that's once a week. Also, if you are a man and you're looking for resources that can help you with any situation that you may be in, you might need counseling, you might need therapy, or your kids might need counseling or therapy or an attorney or whatever, financial advice and things of that nature, go to the Father Show with Mike Thompson.com, and there you will find resources to help you. So just click on that resource button at the top and you can find resources there that can get you either by state, and we also have resources that are listed nationally as well. Now, if you can't find what you're looking for, please write me at thefathershow@gmail.com and let me know what it is that you may be looking for, and I will do my best to help you out and try to find it. And also, put some shows ideas out there. If there's a particular show or particular subject matter that you would like for us to cover, please shoot us an email at thefathershow@gmail.com, and we'll try our best to accommodate and get somebody on the show that can help you with that information. So thank you, and I want you to enjoy this show because it's really a fantastic show today, and I'm really excited. I have a guest that was on my show about 5 years ago, and she's coming back, and we're going to be talking about real estate and a divorce. And I think that is something that we really need to talk to because it is such a trying time, and it has a lot of emotions going on when you're going through a divorce, and especially when you have to sell the marital home or properties that you may have to settle the divorce, and it's really a trying time. So without further ado, I really want to welcome our guest, Joan Rogliano, to the show. And Joan is a fantastic, and really, this is her specialty. Joan specializes in divorce real estate. And Joan, I'm going to let you tell the audience a little bit more about yourself and how you came to be the divorce real estate agent.
It's so good to see you again.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. I'm honored to be back on your show. And welcome, everyone. Mike is right. I have been doing this for, golly, maybe almost a couple of decades now. And I kind of stumbled into it because I was going through a divorce myself. And a lot of my clients were divorcing. And I was finding that they had a lot of misinformation, the main point being that they felt as though they didn't have any choices. They needed to sell their home. And I hope we're going to be talking today about the fact that usually you do have some options. And Mike is also right. This is a life decision, and it's extremely emotional because selling a home or buying a home is emotional. And of course, going through a divorce can add to that challenging situation. So I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
Yeah, it is really something that you and I both have gone through this. So that's why it resonates with us personally as well as
Yes.
professionally. For you, professionally. Me, no, I don't sell real estate. Never thought about it at one point, but it's not something that I do. So why is this such a important topic to talk about when you're going through a divorce?
It's a situation where the anything dealing with a marital home is very, very emotional. And for most people, the marital home is the largest financial investment that they have. And so it can really be a tug of war about what to do with this property. Um, and you need to be really informed before you make this decision as to whether or not someone's going to keep the house or it's going to be sold. Because when I started doing this all those years ago, I would be at a party or be at a networking event, and I would explain to people what my specialty was in the divorce arena. And it was like I stopped talking
Mm-hmm.
because they had their own story they wanted to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you when my mother needed you? Because she was a single mom with 4 kids, and she kept the house and she never should have kept the house, or she sold the house, or they themselves have personally gone through a divorce
Mm-hmm.
and made the wrong decision because they didn't have the information that they needed. So it's a very costly decision, both financially and emotionally. So my job is to give everyone the information that they need, because it's not a one size fits all. It can be different for every divorcing family. And I'm here as a resource to give you the tools that you need to help the two of you make the decision that's best for each of you individually and
Mm-hmm.
is also best for your family, because your family is going to be operating in a different kind of environment or atmosphere. There's a new normal following a divorce.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you know the answer to this one, but you know, when do you think that is appropriate to let your kids know and maybe even have an input into selling or leaving the marital home, or discussing that issue with them at all?
You know, in all the years I've been doing this, Mike, no one has ever asked me that question. And I think that is one of the most important questions that every couple family needs to address.
Mm-hmm.
And the children generally know, regardless of their age, that something is going on and that life is going to be different. And I think I know for a fact from the people that I've worked with that the biggest question is, am I going to have a roof over my head?
Mm-hmm.
Particularly when there are children involved. I've had divorce attorneys say, you know, the couple doesn't call the attorney, the couple calls a realtor if they own their home, because they want to know what's going to happen to them,
Mm-hmm.
particularly with kids. Am I going to have to uproot my children? Are they going to be going to a different school? And through a divorce, you really need a community of support, which can often be your neighborhood, or that can certainly play a vital role in it. So I would say, um, I can't give a particular time frame, but I would say use your best judgment and bring your children into this conversation,
Mm-hmm.
particularly if they ask, what's
Well,
going to
yeah,
happen to me, mom? What's going
yeah,
to happen to me, dad? Am I
yeah.
going to still go to the same school? So that's an excellent question.
Yeah, and I think you would want to be upfront if they're old enough to understand. And if the two of you, maybe, I mean, it'd be ideal if the parents have come together and say, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're
Mm-hmm.
going to do it. So when
Mm-hmm.
they bring it to the child, they have a plan already, so they can really
Right.
make the child feel more comfortable. I mean, the divorce is
Mm-hmm.
hard enough. Selling your house is
Right.
hard enough. That's emotional. That's emotion just thrown all over the place. So if
Mm-hmm.
you can sit down and say, okay, this is what we're going to do,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how we're going to do it, so the child have some foundation and still
Right.
know, like you mentioned, what school am I going to go
Yeah.
to? Am I going to miss my friends?
Yeah. And this is just so wonderful that you're offering this to your audience, because it's vital, again, to your point, that people are prepared with some answers. There's a fairly new term now called nesting,
Mm-hmm.
which might be a possibility, where the home is kept, and depending on the parenting situation, if say there are a lot of situations now where the children are living with one parent for a week and then with the other parent the next week. Well, what the parents are doing is they are moving in and out of the house on
Mm-hmm.
any given week, so that the children have the stability of remaining in the same home and in the same community, and the parents are just moving in and out of the house. And that, for a lot of families, that works really, really well and is in some respects less disruptive to the children,
Yeah.
because every aspect of divorce, I believe, trickles down to the children,
Mm-hmm.
and we want them to be part of the process, and we want them to be aware of what's going on so that it reduces their anxiety.
Yeah. Now, do you help people come to the decision to sell the house or not to sell it?
I do help them, and my manner of helping them is providing them information. And I my mantra has been divorce takes a team.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a team of professionals that I work with. And I have attorneys, I have financial planners, tax advisors, mortgage professionals, so that we are all the team for this family.
Mm-hmm.
The family is the captain of the team. And our job as professionals, and again, it's customized for each family,
Right.
is to give them the best information that we can to help them make a really informed decision. And the lender plays a really big role in this, particularly if someone wants to keep the house, because the numbers have to be there to understand that the budget is going to allow somebody to qualify to take out a new loan, so that if that's called for them to stay in the house.
Yeah.
So it really is a team effort. And then we provide whatever information the family needs until they feel comfortable about saying, okay, here's what we've decided we're going to do with the marital home.
Now, does it hurt a man? When a couple decides that they want to get divorced and they say, this is over. You go your way, I go mine. Does
Mm-hmm.
it hurt the man to move out of the home before a court decision has been decided or any agreement, a legal agreement that the couple have
Mm-hmm.
gone into?
That's a really good question. And I hear that question a lot. And I am not an attorney, and that's
Hmm.
really a legal question.
Yeah, I know, but
So, but I would suggest to you that there is a lot of conversation out there about, oh, I can't move out of the house because that's going to be a strike against me
mhm,
when we start negotiating what's going to happen with the home.
yeah,
And and I've never heard of that being the case, that it's a
okay,
strike against either party when they move out of the house. It's very, very common. But again, I would say, suggest absolutely consult with your legal
yeah,
advisor to be sure. There are also different legalities in every state.
true,
And so you want to be sure that you know what is I call it the anatomy of a divorce
hmm,
within the state in which you reside, because it's different for each state.
yeah. And the easiest thing to do is, all most attorneys, if not all attorneys, will sit down and give you a free consultation. So you can go into them and say, okay, this is what we looking at, and this
Mhm.
is what I'm thinking of, and
Mhm.
what should be my next move. And
Right.
yeah,
And here in Colorado, in our different counties, they have a free consultation set up, say once a month,
no,
or they have a resource where you can connect with someone online if you have some questions.
hmm,
So I would suggest to your audience to check that out for their given jurisdiction or their given county to see what resources are available.
Mm-hmm.
And there are options for doing it. Divorces can be expensive.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can minimize your cost if you can go through mediation and arrive at some conclusions that way.
Yeah.
So
It's
I would,
definitely something that I would recommend to any divorcing couple to
right,
really, in a nutshell, to be able to sit down and decide for yourself what is going to
mm-hmm.
happen to your assets and your liabilities that you have brought, into this marriage.
Right, right,
And now, if a couple has the property prior to the marriage, and I know this varies by state, but
mm-hmm.
in Colorado, for instance, if the couple has, or I should say the couple, if say a man has a house, he owns the house before the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
If if they decide to get divorced and it's still only in his name,
Mm-hmm.
what happens to that marital property?
Again, this is a legal question, but generally it's
Okay.
considered marital property.
Okay. So they would have to
There are
divide.
very few things, and inheritance being one,
Mm-hmm.
that is not commingled. So if you have an inheritance and you put it in a joint account, that is now commingled. If you have an inheritance and you keep it separate, then that is separate for the party who
Okay.
received that inheritance. But usually a marital home um, does become part of the marital property. And I do want to mention another question. I don't know if we'll get to this or not, but it kind of is a segue into it. Um, I get the question a lot about, can I buy a home before my divorce is final?
Mm-hmm.
And I will throw red, you can. The answer is yes, but I'm going to give it a big red flag caveat. Be careful how you do this. I've had a number of people come to me and say, can I do this? And I say, yes, but you want to get everything in writing. Go to your
Okay.
attorney or somehow put this in writing. And the response is frequently, well, everything's fine. We're getting along just great. And he or she said they won't lay claim to the home I am buying before the divorce is final.
Mm.
Huge, huge red flag.
Right.
It's great if you're getting along now, but I know, having been through it, divorce takes some twists and turns, and the um, communication, the environment can change where it can become a little more adversarial.
Mm-hmm.
So just protect yourself, buy the home before the divorce is final with written consent from your soon to be ex that they are accepting of this and they will not lay claim to the
Yeah.
new property.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a marriage is like a business, and you really have to, if you're separating that business, you really have to make sure everything, all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that you're protected and
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that it's in writing, because you're right. You might start off on Monday loving each other. This is great. We're going to do it together. And then by Friday, you done
Right.
said something or the other person said something, and now all heck is breaking loose. And you
Yeah.
might come back together
Right.
and be kind to one another. But in the meantime, that person is saying, whoa, you bought that house? Okay. I want the
Right.
percentage of it. Whenever you sell it, I want a
Yes.
percentage.
Yeah. Yes. And you hit the nail on the head. Divorce is a business proposition.
Mm-hmm.
And both parties, I believe, do best if they can come to an understanding of
Yeah.
that it really is a business proposal.
Now, with that
That
in
was well
mind,
put.
would you, if you can afford it, would you suggest that somebody buy a spouse out of the marital property?
I think that's a great idea. And usually that is what happens. One party or the other wants to retain the marital home.
Mm-hmm.
It can be an emotional decision for themselves. they love this home, they love the neighborhood. It could be a decision around what's they consider to be the best for the children.
Hmm.
Um, yes, so if I would certainly explore all options. One caveat there, though, is if one party buys the other party out, I always suggest that the party who is buying the property do an absolute thorough inspection of the property like
Hmm.
they were just buying it, which you would do in any property that you buy.
Okay.
And I've had people say, I've lived here for 5 years and everything is fine. Well, have you been up on the roof lately? Are you sure the furnace is okay? Do you have any hairline cracks in the foundation, which you've been looking at for 5 years, but are you sure that that's not an issue? So, for a few $100s, get an inspection done. And that calms the waters as well, because I've seen situations where one party buying the house doesn't get an inspection done.
Hmm.
Something goes wrong, and then they're upset with the other party, their now ex spouse,
Hmm.
saying, oh, he or she knew about this and didn't tell me about it. So we're going to go back to court because this isn't right. So it's just protection for everybody.
Yeah. Would someone should someone stay in the home while you're going through the divorce and get ready to sell the house or selling the house and you have put it on the market? Should someone stay in there even though they probably have decided that, okay, we're going to go our separate ways and you're going to go this way, and maybe the one other person might be moving out of town, we don't know. But should someone stay in the home to help it sell?
Generally, I would suggest yes. Uh, that seems to, because then they're not incurring another expense by
Hmm.
someone, by both parties having to rent a property, if that's what's called for, and then pay a mortgage on the house that no one is living in.
Hmm.
Generally, homes show better also if they have furniture in them,
Okay.
but it's also, you want to be sure that the person who is staying in the house is going to take care of it and is going to keep it picked up. And if there are children involved, they're going to help with this process, because you want the house to show the best it can be. And
Yeah.
that means it needs to be clean and well maintained.
So it's really still need to look as homely and welcoming as possible.
Yeah, because people are generally not visual, and that's why it's good to stage a property. I used to stage all of my
Okay.
properties before the market became so hot that things are selling in 24 hours. But people can't get your items out in their mind to get their furniture in. And that's why you want to declutter a house before it goes on the market. So it's easier for someone to visualize what their belongings will look like in the house.
Okay. Now, does it matter that you are going through divorce? Do you have to disclose that when potential buyers come in?
Sometimes that can be detrimental because, well, it's not so much in this market because things are moving so quickly on a national basis. But sometimes people would feel as though, oh, they're going through a divorce, so we can probably lowball them because I know they
Mm,
want this over. You know, that's not happening in a lot of places anymore. But no, they don't need to disclose them.
that's a good point. That's a very good point. I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, so you could. They said, "Oh, they really need to get out of here." So,
Yeah, yeah. As long as what you have to disclose is if something is a material defect.
hmm.
Like if a
Hmm.
seller said to me, we've got foundation problems, but don't tell anybody. Well, by law, I have to tell that there is a material defect. That is, there are
Yeah,
foundation issues.
yeah.
So that's what you have to disclose.
Now you have a book that's out, and
Do.
the book is called "Your Keys to Moving On: A Guide to Negotiating Divorce and a Marital Home." Can you tell the audience a little bit more about your book?
I would love to tell you about my book. This book was written for my clients, written for consumers, because most people who are going through a divorce and either buying or selling a home are they have a little bit of anxiety, and maybe they haven't bought or sold a home in a number of years, and the process has changed in most states. So this takes you from the process of trying to decide what is best for you, um, and it entertains all of your options. Do you want to sell the house? Do you want to buy out your your soon-to-be ex-spouse? Do you want to keep the house for a certain period of time, say till your son or daughter gets through school? They'll be in the house, and then we're going to sell it. Look at all of your options. Understand what is in the selling process. It walks you through every step of the selling process. It walks you through how to get a loan if that's what is needed, and generally that is what is needed. In the back of the book, there is a glossary of real estate terms, because you're going to hear a lot of jargon, going to hear a lot of terms, and this has the terms with all the definitions, and it also has some financial worksheets for you to help you to understand what your current financial situation is and what the likelihood would be for you to qualify for a loan.
Wow.
So it is written specifically for consumers.
That's some great information. You know, you
Well,
don't hear about that much.
well, yeah, you don't, and that's why I wrote the book, because I could see how my clients were fumbling and didn't really know where to start. And with a divorce, there's so many decisions you have to make. And outside of the children, this is probably the largest decision you're going to have to make.
Yeah.
So
No.
it's great to have a book.
And
Sorry?
I was just going to say, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was just going to say, and probably your second hardest decision that you're going to make right at this part of your life.
Yes, absolutely, it is. And you have so much you're trying to contend with, and you can hear something once and then you forget it. And so that I thought, well, here, you take my book, and you'll just have it, just refer back to the information in the book, and that
Yeah.
will help you get grounded again.
Now, where can you get your book?
It's on Amazon.
Okay. Duh, really?
And there is a Kindle version as well, electronic version as well.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And when did you write this book?
Oh, a few years back when I started,
Okay.
because it too became evident that this was a resource that my clients needed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I wrote the book.
And it's when I got divorced, I just gave her the house. I said, here, you can have it. But I knew she wasn't able to financially keep it. So I did something else for her, and mainly for my daughter. But do you find a lot of times that, men will come to you and say, you know what, I need to sell it, I want to sell it, and it's only in my name. What is my best recourse?
Yes. And so that's where we sit down with whatever team member is needed to help this particular person answer the questions that he or she needs. And
And
then we all
no, go
Go ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
We just have a conversation that is going to customize what is in their best interest. And again, the numbers, getting your financial situation in, gathering all those numbers are what's going to help you to see whether or not what your goal is actually viable.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone wants to keep the house, even if both parties are on the mortgage and are entitled, the loan will need to be refinanced.
Mm-hmm. And I know in some cases, a judge will say, okay, you can stay there, to tell the wife, you can stay there for 3 years, 5 years, and but then it has to be sold, and y'all got to split it a certain way. So I
Right.
know those things happen, and you work with the team of, and not just your team, because if I had an attorney and I said, you know what, I'm not sure what I need to do, so I'm gonna call somebody that deals with selling a house, and I can call you, correct?
Absolutely.
And then you and my attorney that I already
Yes.
hired can work together.
Right. Yes. Yes. And I have a team that I work with, but those are professionals I can refer people to. If
Hmm.
someone comes to me regarding, or they're referred to me by their attorney, then I become part of the team where
Okay.
the client has their attorney. They might have a financial planner, they might have a lender, and I slip into that team. I use my team when my client doesn't have the resources.
Now, does it make a difference in how much, what your financial status is to get your help? You know, is it somebody on a below middle income or at middle income or above middle income or in the one percenters? I know one percenters, they could definitely use you, and that's without a doubt. So is there a financial level that you would
No.
say that you will work with somebody or not?
No, I don't. I work with everybody. My goal is I'm at a stage in my career where I my main goal is to just be of service to
Yeah.
people. And I have counseled with a lot of people, and I don't charge an hourly. I don't ask for a retainer. You know, I
Hmm.
can counsel with them about their home and other aspects of the divorce, and they wind up not selling.
Hmm.
And that would be how I would have a financial uh, reward. I would make a commission off the sale of the home.
Yeah.
But if they choose not to sell the home, I don't go back and say, oh, well, here's my bill for all the consulting I did with you. It's no, I don't do that.
And that's good.
Mhm.
That's good. It's good that you are willing to provide your service, and
Mhm.
really on a contingent basis. You know, if you decide to sell, great. I get a
Right.
percentage of that. If you don't, that's okay. I was able to
Mhm.
give you some information and
Right.
help you make that determination whether you want to sell or not.
Yes. And that's my practice. Now, there are other realtors that um, don't, that
Right.
is not their
Right.
practice, but that is the way I want to
Right.
practice my business.
Well, how can our audience get in touch with you? And I know you mentioned when we were talking earlier, you said that you know you're licensed in Colorado, but you
Right.
have people nationwide that you can uh, refer people to. So, how
Right.
can the audience get in touch with you should they need to talk with you, get your service, or what have you?
They can email me at Joan at roglianorealestategroup.com. So that's JOAN at my last name, ROGLIANO, realestategroup.com. That's my email. Call or text me 303 667 5485. Or you could visit my website, roglianorealestategroup.com.
Oh, great, great. Well, Joan, that is our time for today, but I really want to thank you for coming on the show. And it's good to see you after 5, 6 years, the last time we talked.
Yeah, it
So,
was my pleasure, Mike.
yeah, and you
You're
still
doing
look,
great work.
and you are as well. I mean, to have a
Thank you.
specialty and to be able to help people. And really, what I like is the fact that it's not monetary all the time. You know, a
Hmm.
lot of people ask questions like, well, what is it for you? What's in it for you? And, you know, it's
Right.
all about the money. And it's great to hear and meet people that are not all about the money. You're going to get
Hmm.
paid, you're going to have your money, but
Right.
you can still help someone without worrying about, you know, okay, well, that was 5 minutes, so I'm gonna charge them $100. So, you know,
Right.
yeah. So that's good. And so
Yeah.
bless you for that. And I thank you for that.
Thank you, Mike. It's
All
just a
right.
pleasure to see you again.
Yes, it is. And I look forward to, hopefully do seeing you again. Do you think you're going to write another book?
I'm thinking about it now. I get that question a lot, and I'm thinking about it. So I might, and I'll call you up and say, "Hey, I got a new book, Mike."
Well, if you do, definitely give me a holler, let me know, and come back on the show, and you get to, promote your book and tell everybody about it, because I still know, I'm sure it's going to pertain to what we've talked about today.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, oh, that's right. So you don't, let me ask you one more question though.
sure.
It doesn't matter to you whether the wife comes to you or the husband comes to you. You don't take sides, do you?
Oh, no, 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 no.
Mm,
Neutral
yeah.
party, and that's a really, really important question because you cannot advocate for either. You're advocating for the family.
Hmm.
If I have conversation with one, the other receives an email. Everybody knows what's going on.
Good, good.
That's a really, really important question.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And I think that is something that a lot of people need to hear and understand, that you're
Yes,
working. And I like how you put it, you work it for the betterment of the family. And
right.
we, when you're going through the divorce, that's what we really need to be looking at, the
Yeah,
betterment of the family.
right, right.
Because if you have kids, especially if you have kids, if you don't have kids,
Yeah,
yeah. But if you have
yeah,
kids, you really have to look at that and make sure that the
absolutely.
kids are not being harmed.
May I say one more thing, which you
Absolutely.
just jogged my memory? A really important point. If people go to mediation, the mediator is generally an attorney, but there are professional mediators as well.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
mediator is also a neutral party
Mm-hmm.
because I have had people come to me that have been to a mediation and told me that the mediator was working for them or advocating for them,
Hmm.
be it the wife, be it the husband.
Wow.
And that is not correct
Mm-mm.
legally. The mediator cannot, so don't be misled by thinking this mediator is advocating for you. The
Mm-hmm.
mediator is a neutral party, they have no decision making power. But that's why I always suggest even you get a legal advisor to review. If you're not consulting with them every step of the divorce, have them review the final agreement before you sign anything.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they will do that for a just like a flat fee. That person, that attorney is advocating for you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's what everybody needs. I believe everybody needs their own advocate.
That's
So
true. And I know I had to tell one of my kids that once when they were thinking about uh, getting divorced, separating. And I told him, I said, you both, what I'm telling you, I will tell the other partner, you know. And I really wanted to make that clear because I love them both and I'm not going to be in the middle of it, but I want to make sure they're both protected. And ultimately, everybody comes out okay.
yes, yes, usually that is the case. And it doesn't have to create conflict. It's
No.
just people need to understand the mediator is not advocating for either party or should not be. I'll put
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah. And you're right. They definitely should not be. I've done the mediation in my second divorce, and I am a big advocate for it if you do it correctly. And, if you go in there with an open mind and an open heart and
Right,
you just say, okay, this is over. You're grown ups. Let's just go our separate ways. You take this, I
right.
take that, and make it easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well, Joan, thank you so much, dear. And I'm so glad to have you on the show. And we got to stay more in touch. It can't go another 5 years.
Okay.
And
That
I
sounds
don't
like a
plan
good
on
plan.
needing your service either. I'm just saying, as a friend, we're going.
Glad to hear that.
No, I'm
Yeah.
happy. I am happily married. I have got a wonderful wife,
Oh, I'm
and
so glad to hear that.
yeah, she is my rock. Really, I love her to
I'm
death.
so glad to hear that.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. One day,
Okay.
hopefully, you'll meet you because we're gonna come back and visit Denver when it stops snowing, and
Oh,
and maybe we get a chance to meet.
that sounds good.
Okay.
Maybe it'll be a little warmer by then too.
If I'm there, it will be.
Okay, you take care, Mike.
All right, you too, Joan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for today. And I want to thank Joan Rogliano for coming on the show and really providing such great information. Divorce is hard. And when you have to, sell your home because you get a divorce, that's really another part of it that's really makes it rough. And when you have your kids involved, that makes it even rougher because the kids are being uprooted from the home that they've gotten comfortable in and whatever their age may be. So it's hard. And having somebody like Joan to help you go through these steps and go through this process is really a key. So if you need her, please give her a call. Let her, let her help you get through this process and really try to make the process as easy as possible. And having somebody like Joan, if you decide to sell your home, can definitely help in that aspect and help you make the process as easy as possible on yourself and for your kids. So I want to thank you for joining us today. And once again, I want to tell you, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go there, hit that subscription button, and while you're there, hit that notification bell. That way you'll always know whenever we have a show that we have uploaded. And if you need resources, please go to the Father Show with MikeThompson.com and click on resources, and there you will find resources to help you going through whatever you may be dealing with. And if there's somebody that you need and a resource that you need and it's not on there, please contact me. You can reach me at thefathershow@gmail.com and just send me an email. And just so you know, if you go to the resources, we don't know you were there. We're just providing the resources for you. We don't have any cookies on the website. We're not tracking who comes on the website and who doesn't. It is there for you. So use it for you and so that you can have the best life that you can have and you can continue to be the best version of yourself. So thank you, everyone. I thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. So until then, God bless you all. Have a great week, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.